Metaphysical insight and analytical as to what it is. So I have to give it
It's a climate of corruption. It's trying to acquire.
given the nature of it of metaphysical
It's part of
harassment.
politics, but it's not.
Yeah, so the neutral government.
But it has a different meaning.
Arbitrarily, the word segue and say, I don't say that. You say extraordinarily.
It's still
I'm
bad when you're a
not
candidate. But I don't think the president,
logically.
if he did
Okay.
do what
you said. No. Extraordinarily.
are going to get him into trouble. As
Now,
president,
what that
because
is
there's a
given
different
that,
there's a similarity between
why is it
the
exploited?
climate around Mr. Stone and what he did.
And you're saying, okay, well, you yesterday was talking about such our representative, associate, associates. Okay, right? Given, right? Okay.
Who have already been convicted.
Okay. All I see is going.
I mean, is that the best?
And all I see is going. I don't want to look that way. Plus, going.
It is kind of a rogues gallery of who you surround yourself.
British,
And it
what do you
takes a
call
toll.
it? About British,
Scott
what
worked
are
in the
you
White
talking
House.
about?
Covered the Clintons.
Oh, yeah, stop right there,
Covered the
3.
White House. It takes a toll on the work boots that any president needs. In the
Damn, you
Clintons,
just
they
fracked
staffers who don't have any great
inserted
resources.
some
Being called before
wait,
juries,
right,
trying to hire lawyers, uniformed Secret Service officers.
you're giving yourself what do you call it? You're giving yourself what is that? You're giving yourself limited liability.
You look at the big names, these
Okay.
people close to the president who
Yeah,
are spending
right,
time in
okay,
prison for their crimes. You look at the ongoing investigations. But to Tim's point more about just the culture,
stuff like
there are
that.
a lot of people inside the White House now, including the people Nick Mulvaney's, in his universe,
I don't know.
their budget and chief staff's office,
Are
who
you trying to keep your
are
job?
relatively young people
Are you
who are
trying
trying
to
to do the right thing. They're trying to.
And there you go. Okay, so the premise of you is like talking about the premise of it is about communists and Legion of Honor. Trying to keep their job, trying to keep unemployment, trying to keep benefits, trying to keep the food stamp program going on, trying to keep that going on. You know what I mean? And so excuse us, right? That's what your premise is. Excuse us.
Between that, just as Shimon did so well when he was wrapping up his report, and what we are seeing today. I mean, you are seeing people who are going to go in for depositions, the same kind of deposition or same level of.
I would say.
We're going to be asked, especially the one witness. Did you
personally,
overhear the president
like an interview, be like interview, or like say at a job or something, and be like interview. What I'm thinking in my mind, like one thing that you like to do, take your paths. Oh no, man, you know what I mean? I don't know.
And then
Like, oh yeah, huh? Not yeah, as in like I'd like pet, yeah. Right. No, what you said, because he said segue. He said elaborate
smart for him to do
on a panel of interview, and I don't think I've ever been on that, but I think I have. But I kind of have, maybe. But in school, maybe kind of. That lower division, that was my second haircut. That wasn't my first. My first was more accurate, and then that was my second. And that's it. No, I wouldn't go back to that. But he said elaborate. He said elaborate on that. He said elaborate.
7 people, and to me, that was the people who were 7 people who had all been.
And so let's go back to that then. Let's just go back to that.
Activity.
And segue into that stage of all as you volley out that always says going. And to be on notice of what about such and such as a responsible and conservative, and such, and statute of limitations, and your statute of limitations, and the blackmail in general, and exploiting the common exploiting the common and legions. I think that you're saying issue what arbitrarily. You guys get 2 hour lunches. I mean, I don't know what this arbitrary issue. What am I supposed to say, Stein? I mean. What do I want? I mean, what is this? I'm grateful for the stall right here. I'm grateful for a washer and dryer. I like taking care of my pets. I have a nice bed. The memory foam is pretty cool. And it's time to be honest with you, my philosophy in itself is what it is. I can't go forward in that sense. You know what I mean? I can say, what do you want? I mean.
Sir Murray standing by. I've been following our stuff for quite a while now.
More accurate.
I suppose. I mean, What do you
Not
think?
great. I try to read it.
Of course, he'll say something.
Where?
That's what Roger Stone does.
Shima's?
Well, it seems like that
Commercial, I don't know.
is at least going to stay in place until his
What?
sentence.
Residential race?
Take him into custody.
That's it, right there?
She is worried about
Roger Stone is Roger,
going
right?
there.
Isn't that what it is?
This case
As guys like, you know what I'm saying, it's like, you know what I'm saying, hey, pass me Bubblicious or something like that. Or something or other, right? And like, you know, and so this is very real and stuff like that. Well, it's very real when I go ahead and do things. It's very real, the victimizations that happen to me. It's very real every time I come out, go to the store and stuff like that. It's very real when I get a ticket. It's very real when I try to absolve myself with community service. It's very real when I say I might vote for the 2020 elections. It's very real when I do that.
Audio of him testifying.
It's very real when I my breath. It was,
at least a few more months, he won't be.
it's still faceless, other than it was Eileen Keegan
Side of the story.
talking about, okay, what is it, and Yazoo, and talking about the plus situation, and like, what is the plus, what is it, and so you're just basically, you're Skilletree's associate, right, you're Skilletree's representation, right, front lines. I'm like, look, man,
And I think, one of the things.
were you friends with me first, or Skillettree first, or was I like, another sense of
who has now been
such or other, and such, and don't find him on Facebook as a data storage. Okay, put it like this: Phillips Dinas.
Yeah.
Okay, data storage is what his name is. So go ahead and data storage yourself.
Continuing on the second day
You know what I'm saying?
impeachment hearings. It's now led to accusations of witness intimidation against the president. We'll explain that in a moment. First, to the
Van
only witness
Voorhees.
speaking publicly today,
And talking about that
Maria
trashed
Bartiromo,
me
also the sole person
on that sense, to be like, oh, such and such, I'm actually Jewish and such or other.
fighting corruption.
That's okay, I'll take that, Edge.
President Trump gives for pressure the country to investigate his
1
political rival
o'clock.
Joe Biden and his son Hunter. But Yovanovitch testified she believes she was forced out as a U.S. ambassador to Ukraine because of her record on Rudy
Right, yeah. So given the platform what it is, the stipulation established order what it is, and so you're talking about the pluses now. You're talking about the pluses and Roger Stone out. You're talking about the pluses and you're talking about the Skillettree, right? Menard Associates, right? You're talking about Skillettree and Associates, right? Like false stories and statute of limitations and all, right? Pluses, and you're talking about like talking about that what? Talking about loyalties.
In the face of this smear campaign, did colleagues at the State Department try to get a statement
Okay, the green screen's along.
from Secretary Pompeo?
Yes.
Racketeering of me? Oh no.
Did you come to learn that they couldn't issue such a statement because they feared it would be
Sorry. Oh, we're rubies, right? Such and such, right? Okay, so given that nature, we're rubies and such, is now political pawns in a situation to where somebody said about.
Consider testifying the president is attacking you on Twitter. And I'd like to give you a chance to respond. I'll read part of one of his tweets. Everywhere Marie Yovanovitch went turned bad. She started off in Somalia. How did that go?
That's a hate statement. That's a hate statement. Why were we friends if you don't like my mother? You know what I'm talking about? If you don't like my mother, why are we so friends? Why did you wanted to sign with EMI so bad? Why are you all of a sudden like Mr. Wannabe H Black? What do you call it? Wannabe the superstar or something? If everything my mom, if you don't like my mother so bad, okay? If I didn't like your mother so bad, then I wouldn't have been your friend. Basically, is how that goes. So,
I don't think
I don't have a lot on that mom, and so given the situation, and so
I actually think that,
and I'm a little expanded on this idea.
I and others
I went bad and say, and you say Lyme and you say Alzheimer's and stuff like that
for the
and
US,
such,
as well as for the countries that I've served in.
and so as its own entity, is its own entity in itself. And if you're talking about me in general, then I'm itself. You're talking about that. You're not talking about. You're talking about me as an interest in itself, and you're talking about what it is that wants to be profited from me, or wants to be made from me, and stuff like that. Aside from my nucleus of my family and stuff like that. Okay, just like remember, if we want to hire you, if we have to hire you, we're gonna take hers. Okay, and so that's the deal. Now, when you cross that line, you cross it up, then you, in turn, backstab the nucleus of my interest, of what you're saying, of what it is on our agreement.
the White House or State Department not to. Notwithstanding the fact that, as you testified earlier,
given arbitrarily, it is what it is.
the president implicitly threatened you.
Now let's reiterate so I can invest on what I'm talking
And now
about.
the president
And so,
is attacking you.
and so, well, what? One more question?
What
What?
effect do you think that has on other witnesses' willingness to come forward and expose wrongdoing?
I'm not sure what you're saying. I'm saying reiterating investing is basically what I'm saying is if what I said earlier, 5 minutes ago, what I said, if you had that on deposition, then what I said, you can go ahead and review that real quick and then say what that is. Because in turn, if you want to hire me or you like me as a friend, then you're going to have to take us, and that's how that goes. Whether it be a hiring, you call it hiring, or whether you call it friendship, or whether you call it whatever you call it.
Yovanovitch, in terms of what to expect now, just in the coming hours, Republicans are going to have a chance to question her as well. How did they go about doing it? I mean, the president now has gone after her while she was testifying. They're saying it's witness intimidation.
I think he's made their job.
And what I said earlier, yeah, it resonates because it's like, you know what I'm saying, if you're going to hire me or if you're going to be down with me, and such, then you got to take us as a nucleus. You start backstabbing my mom behind it, then it's kind of suspect of what it is that you want from me and so what it is that you want to get out of me. So in turn, it questions our friendship in general. Plus, you know what I'm talking about?
That the president,
you know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, I'm saying, hey, you just disappeared nowhere. And like, so the agenda and stuff. And I'm not going to go forward with that idea because that's where it stopped. That's where it ended. But if you want to backdate it to what it was, it's like if you're so much interested in me and look like you're so much and such. And so you have such a problem with me, then why don't you just disassociate? If that's your preference, such a problem.
What they've been saying before.
Such and such. But then we want. And then after that, it's hearsay. After that, it's hearsay. It's just folklore into the future of like why Manafort's in a prison and stuff like that, and all this other stuff, and all this other junk, and beyond applicatories beyond my scale. You know what I mean? Like so what it is. So that's it. So whether he says up there, it's like it's up there, and it's like we have a common and something like that, or no legion and stuff, and ragdolls and such like that, or something rather.
Resuming soon. Also, Hillary Clinton tweeting, "quote Witness intimidation is a crime, no matter who does it." Full stop.
Sorry, I was going to say to your point. What are the Republicans going to do? One thing. Number 3 Republican in the House, Liz Cheney, has said the president was wrong to do this. Clearly,
I gotta sit up here and listen to this and stuff like that, and be like, ball and chain, and be like,
to set up the inquiry. Everybody's been in line.
It's always just such a rather
situation where Republicans are now
exactly now they're walking on eggshells. They were, of course, they're going to do, and we're going to hear them say it's the president's prerogative to have whatever ambassador he wants. But
what is
a much more delicate dance.
established ground? What is that? Themes of what he said on Sweet November. Okay, so given let's give him that on insert factors of the plus. I'll give yourself credit because you like to do that, and then like that's like you do, and then
You're not aware of why the president fired you, right? You think it was because of who you
and then she was to say, she was to say like that, and say put yourself on defensive. And okay, absolve yourself. You know what I'm saying? U.S. government and such like that. And so you said, and like I'm not part of my allegiance and stuff. Like I didn't make my allegiance. Like I didn't rise before the hearing started again. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Like I didn't do all that, right? So given that,
and so it wasn't just Ambassador Yovanovitch who thought that she was the victim of Giuliani's machinations. It's National Security who said to Fiona Hill that Rudy Giuliani is a hand grenade that will blow everyone up. He hated the campaign against Yovanovitch. So we all have to keep in mind, it's not just this group of professionals who thought she was terrible. It was actually the National Security Advisor. I hope we will hear from him on this at some point. And the Republicans, if you talk to
Anyways, what I said is I don't like this, and then because Roger Stone really went to jail, and Manafort's really in jail and whatnot, and so it's just applicatory of what it is. And I'm talking about hustling in the hall and hearing stuff like that, and stuff like that. And so given that this week November and the tax budget, just invest real quick, and so it is alone. And you say, let's say what it is. That's all we're trying to do. This like someone says.
The smart money will tell you they should not.
Get to the premise. The premise of a sweet November, and what do you call it? If you're gonna hire me, you're gonna hire to take the whole package, okay?
Actually attempting to it's not as if she was saying Ukraine was not an uncorrupt country. So for this to be phrased as and sort of set up as an anti-corruption drive by the president, there really is no evidence of this president's interest in fighting corruption in Ukraine.
And how rare, sorry to interrupt, the money was approved with this huge bipartisan vote. Democratic and Republican senators going over to say, stay in the fight corruption. We have your back. There actually was a bipartisan, strong, let's help these people. And even a lot of the Democrats thought Obama was too soft. He wouldn't give them the lethal military aid. The Democrats are happy with, on paper, the Trump administration policy. On paper. And
no, these people. Like what you said. What?
The reason that America is so emphatic about having Ukraine's back is because they're up against.
Hold on, I'll take care of this.
President Trump was that concerned about corruption. He would have mentioned it in the April transcript that we just got.
Which the White House.
Sweet November. The weather purpose.
Here's the counsel for the witnesses when he has paper copies.
Okay, the paper copies of it.
If that's true, does that mean that you and your team has been in coordination with him and or her with respect to her testimony this morning? And if that's true, how does that comport with HRS 660 and the fairness that is purportedly associated?
So, okay, I mean, it's true. Contingencies alone, okay, if we're talking about that, and it's talking about, okay, so your degradation, your assassinating character of my mother, at the same time, so, but you're not, so it's basically, I don't know what you can call that, assassinating character, I don't know, put a 4 on it, but let's say, even a nurses of what it is, right? So you don't remember what he said, and he said, I can't see the screens, okay, so, go ahead. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. There's 4 things, all right? There's a assassinating character. There's I'm lost already, but I'm thinking to myself. Go ahead. I need a little lead on this idea. So you're talking about. Basically you're saying from like saying that we're as an entity we're groupie people, right? We're a groupie kind of people. But if you make the connection of when we're friends with Plus and friends with associates, if we're a groupie people, okay, then how do you make that 3 equation insert into a way that says that we're guilty of what you say that we're victimized of?
You admitted in your opening statement that you don't have any first-hand knowledge of the issues that we're looking into.
No, I don't. No, because me and Plus we used to play basketball, and that's how we played basketball. Insert associates. All of a sudden, I want a record deal.
Do you believe?
I'm like,
Senator Grassley,
you want a record deal? I'm like, why? All of a sudden, you're like, you want me to talk RoboCop and stuff like that? So,
were you involved in the July 25th Trump-Zelensky phone call?
So, given that nature of it, what it is like you say, and just a rapid-fire tangent, it's like, okay, so let's reiterate just back and forth. If I'm friends with Plus first, insert associates, Plus wants a record deal, we're held guilty for what we're victimized about. Simply because together, as a forethought, we're groupies.
No, I was not.
Did you ever talk to President Trump in 2019?
Now, if you enter a 4, you enter Haynes, now you're thinking about a whole plethora of I'm going to defend myself, vulgarities of such and such, of what you're saying about this. Now, And now you're incriminating on personal ideas of saying is what you're asking about. And so now let's go ahead and start reading what you're really asking.
Committee, if there's
a committee in which you really. And now, am I a stalker? Basically, am I a stalker?
Setting instead of
stalker. I don't know. If you hang out with me, am I a stalker? I don't know.
Not a material.
I don't even think this is like anything. Any of the this is relevant actually. So it doesn't seem. It seems to be me the charge that the counter charge that we are charging is that you're holding us guilty of what we're victimized of.
Yield to you, Ms. Stefanik.
Thank you, Mr. Nunez. Ambassador Yovanovitch, thank you for being here today.
The gentlewoman will suspend.
What is the interruption for this time? It is our time.
The gentlewoman will suspend. You're not recognized. Mr. Nunez, you were minority counsel.
I just recognized.
Under the House Resolution 660, you're not allowed to yield time except to minority counsel.
The ranking member yielded time to another member of the
Oh, this is plus.
It's not accurate.
You're gagging the...
That is accurate.
Plus, that is accurate.
Ambassador Yovanovitch,
that is accurate.
Thank you for being here today.
Condescending, kind of guilty, condescending.
This is the 5th time you have interrupted members of Congress.
Condescending.
The gentlewoman will suspend.
Mr. Chair, we control the time. And customary of this committee that controls the time.
Oh, well, hang on, the plus his idea is because she's guilty. Because all fuchsia over here, all fuchsia in the Sunsets and the Cisco 39th.
Minority counsel recognized.
Whatever, I thought we were friends, all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, your data storage, and like, you're guilty.
Ambassador, welcome. Thank you for your service. 33 years, an extraordinary career.
You're guilty. Now, given that nature of ignorance, okay, given that, you know why you're guilty? Is because you crossed me up. We were friends first. You're more of a groupie than anything else. You hide the fact, your motives, that you want to be some type of superstar, rock star, and the fact that you really, you know what I'm saying, some say call us like buddies instead of worst sense of the word, when in fact, you know,
early in the morning.
Who knows what your motives were, in a sense of like, other than being buddies, you know what I'm talking about?
A complete.
And so, rather.
A very complete day, you were serving a 3-year assignment in the Ukraine, is that correct?
Yes.